Yesterday, OpenAI released GPT-5, and last night, GPT-5 one-shot this animated Dataview dashboard, pulling in data from my daily notes, which, if we look at the tasks done and then see those tasks done are 57 tasks, and it adds up every time you create a daily note and you do more tasks, the total number of tasks and the tasks done increase. Let's take a look at the daily note. The first thing you'll see is the temperature and the time, which is pulled from a simple settings file, which gives my time zone to pull in this information. There's a quick entry as I scroll down where you could track water, exercise, sleep, meditation, reading, journaling, etc. And I did not make this daily note template, which pulls from Dataview. Claude created this for me. Claude Sonnet created this for me. It tracks my tasks and projects, notes, and this all shows up in a daily dashboard. This is so cool. In the note here, and then at the bottom, there's some more reflection, tomorrow's focus, and some links. But here is the coolest thing about this whole data tracking system in Obsidian, using Dataview, the charts plugin, and a touch of templater. It's that this is not static. Just like the daily dashboard, let's mark a task as completed. I did work with Claude on setting up Dataview in my Obsidian Vault. I'll click that, and if we look down here, work automatically updates. But it gets even cooler. Let's take a look at the dashboard, and we can see that we have 58 tasks done, and other areas of the dashboard show dates that tasks were done. But you can see all of the data here and how cool it looks. It's just amazing and just makes you want to write in your daily note and track how awesome that you are doing through life. The steps, and even when you hover over it, and all of this was done with one extremely exhausted prompt. But it doesn't end there, because Claude also has the ability, I'm going to remove this from reading view here, and I'm going to add a new task. And I'm just going to say that I practiced playing the guitar. I'm going to scroll down, and you can see here that the dashboard doesn't quite load in until you scroll to the end of the note or go to reading view. I don't know how to make that change. That would be really cool if I didn't have to do that for every note. However, what I have done here is it adds in habits that are custom to what you do. So let's say you went to the dentist and you scroll down and dentist pops up. This is really, really cool and so fun. It also shows your water intake and steps and exercise. And if you need a little bit more activity, you need to do 2 more glasses. Let's drink a glass of water and mark it done and scroll down. We now see 7 glasses of water, and you need 1 more glass of water to get your daily dose. So how did this whole thing work? How did I set it up? How did I do it? Especially since I have not used Dataview before. I used an agent in Cursor. This is Cursor. I basically live in Cursor. Cursor is an AI code editor. Now, if you want to just stop right there and go, I'm out, I can't code. Well, okay, here's the secret. I can't code either. I don't code. I don't code. I wouldn't know how to code. I wouldn't know how to write a Dataview query. But the coolest thing about AI and agents and all the cool things that it can do for you is that it frees you. Because what is a code base? When you break it down, well, a code base is just letters, numbers, symbols that are in a document, a JavaScript document or a Python document. It's just words. It's just a language that was made up by humans, like English. And if you have files and folders, particularly markdown files and folders are particularly good for Cursor. And where do you find lots of markdown files and folders? In your Obsidian Vault. So most of the time nowadays, I'm not here in actual Obsidian. I work with my vault most of the time here in Cursor. This basket is the exact same thing as this basket. Here's the conversation and how it went down. Because Claude Sonnet got kind of stuck. I asked it after a very long conversation. I asked it, instead of trying to make separate charts, would it be possible to make one large chart? Because my first attempt was to just ask Claude to make me charts just to see what it could do. And this, as far as it, and what I mean by it is Dataview, and this is the first thing that it made for me that made me go, wait a minute, you can do that? This analytics dashboard. This is a live dashboard. You can see that it's animated here, and it shows the file types in my Obsidian Vault. Tags, my most used tags, recent activity, the vault health. You can see I have a lot of orphan notes. What date the dashboard was generated, what this dashboard shows here, and how to use this dashboard, how to refresh the data. And this was one of the first things that Claude made. And you can tell that Claude made this. One of the biggest differences between Claude and GPT-5 are Claude loves its emojis to death, actually, and they drive me crazy. But however, it made this wonderful thing, and I saw the animated notes, and I thought about my website, which I just built at iversusai.com, where I do one-on-one coaching for beginners, N8N, Obsidian. I can help you build your Obsidian Vault and teach you what I'm learning about Dataview. If you want to get someone to set up something with you, I can do that. And I do it in 3 different sessions. We figure out what your problem is here, we build it, and then we polish it, and you're off to the races. However, you see these cards and how they animate like this? And I built this in Lovable. Well, which, by the way, Lovable is a way to build apps. You can see my website down here. This was the first version. This is what I ended up with after it took me about 2 days to do this website, which is a complete landing page. And it's pretty cool. And it's animated and it's got all this neat stuff. And I saw this and I said, well, if these cards are animated, maybe I could make a dashboard which looks animated like my website. And I thought to myself, well, if I asked Claude to make some data, just a basic, this is not the same. This is the simple version before we got started on that nicer daily note. And I just kept asking, is it possible that we could do this? Is it possible that we could do that? And so this was the first dashboard attempt. I love this dashboard. I just gave it a color scheme, and then I asked it to make it animated, and I went back and forth with it. I loved this. I absolutely love these habit completion rings and your overall habit score. These are so cool. This one is really neat, but I must say that the yearly habit grid tracker, it looks really great. But this Dataview version, I did a second version because I said, could you change this and that? For example, I love this circle animation that loads up. So my first thought was I would have these individual dashboards and I would put them on a canvas and I could lay them out the way I wanted them to. But I quickly ran into a problem in that each of these, though they are responsive in size, if we change, I'm right-clicking outside here of the main area. I'm right-clicking and turning off readable line length so you can see that for some of these, this one isn't maybe a great example, but let's try the completion rings. You can see that this is wider because I wanted it to be responsive, which is something I learned from building my website. I wanted it to be available and work well on mobile, on tablet, on desktop, whether you do readable line length or whether you turn that off or whatever. And this is what this looks like. I love this. It's so cool. So this is what Dataview looks like. Can I read this? No, not in the slightest. What I can do is look through it, and because of the wonderful comments that Claude left in this when I was working with Claude in this part of the process, I can see more or less how things work here. We added in a fallback for older browsers. I was very concerned that this would be something that if I were to release it, it would be something that could work on someone's older phone or older tablet, and I didn't want to have any performance problems. And speaking of performance, if we go over here to Dataview and look at its documentation, the first thing that we can see here is that Dataview is highly performance oriented, and I have seen that. Now, my vault has 2,000 notes in it, and I haven't had any lag at all with Dataview, and that includes on my mobile. I'm using Obsidian Sync to sync things back and forth, so let me tell you, it is pretty cool. The idea of being able to use your daily note on the go and then come back to your vault and see a super cool dashboard just showing you continuing on with your progress. The other plugins that I used were charts and also a touch of templater. And for those of you just coming in to find out what each of those are, so I'm going to change this readable line length here, put that back. When you open up a new daily note, I asked Claude, all I did was ask Claude to add in the templater, I guess you'd call them there. What would you call those? If we go over here to templater, it's a template, variables. That's it. We would call them, I told you, I'm not a coder. And if we look at these variables here, this is week 32, month 8, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I asked it if it would just add in the templater variable here so that when a new note is created from the template, it would automatically fill these numbers in. That was it. It was simple. Now, when I say simple, let me describe what simple actually means. Because as we scroll down here, and I said, instead of trying to make these separate charts, as I've already told you, and Claude goes absolutely, whips out some emoji stew at me, but finished the job and created the chart. And as I scroll down, you might think, end of the story, happy ending. We all went off into the sunset, right? Nope. That's not how it works. I wish it did, but that is not how it works. When you scroll down here, what do you see? An error. Now, when an error happens in Dataview and the data tries to render, if there's a problem, you'll get an error, which you can copy and paste directly into Cursor. So I got an error here, and I'm just going to scroll down and save you some pain because this process is painful. And I was very tired at this point. You could see that it would fix the issues, but it wouldn't really be fixed. And I also I just didn't want to go back and forth with Claude. And at this point, it was very late in the evening, very late. So I decided to whip out GPT-5. I was very tired and I wanted to just find out what GPT-5 could do. So I wrote it this absolutely horrible prompt because I was tired. I said, can you make it even cooler? Can you access the data? And then I linked it to the data notes. Now, this is why I love using my Obsidian Vault and Cursor so much. These daily notes were not created by me. They were created by Claude because I needed some data to test and see if this would work. And we'll take note of the fact that it skips a few days because I wanted it to not, sometimes we just don't take a daily note. We're busy, we're on vacation, whatever. So I wanted there to be what would happen if there isn't a daily note for that day? What happens to the data? And I gave it the data, and the way I do that is I just right click here and I click on copy path and I drop it in. I found that works best for the way I work. I also gave it some learning every time that Claude would make a mistake in setting up a Dataview query. When I was working on those daily notes and those cute little charts that I've already shown you, I would add it to this Dataview document here, and I wanted it to read that. And also, it had already done this in the chat, but if it hadn't, I would have also hooked it in to the actual documentation on Dataview. So you might be wondering, okay, how are you able to make these really cool things? And I've never seen it. Whenever anyone's shown off Dataview, it's just kind of like trackers or like lists, like a list of how many notes you opened in your vault or book trackers. But I've never seen anyone, let me know if you have, showing Dataview that it could do these animated live dashboards. I have never seen anyone doing that. I didn't even know it was possible. I just wanted to learn Dataview to do more interesting things. And it was Claude saying, hey, you can do this. And the way I did that is here. I have a docs folder. And when I'm trying to learn something new, like charts, Dataview, Metabind is another one that allows you to do cool things on a dashboard. And also, of course, Obsidian itself, Obsidian Help, and the templater docs. I ask the model to download the docs. I find the direct link to the docs in GitHub. All of the plugins in Obsidian have GitHubs. And then I ask it to download the docs. And I just tell it, put it right here in the folder, and it will download all of the documentation and open it up here. I'll show you. I'm so used to looking at this. Let me show you this raw markdown. I've gotten quite used to looking at it. But I also have here a little extension that says Markdown Preview. And this is the entirety of the documentation for Dataview. So I don't sit here and read this documentation. I might glance over it because I want to learn as I go. I ask the model to simply read the Dataview docs. I literally just say, read the docs. And it will go through this folder, and you'll see a little reading icon. You'll see that it's calling a reading tool, and it will just read the docs. And then it will say cheerily, I understand how Dataview works now. And it's not much of a stretch for a model because Dataview, in its essence, as well as templater, is basically just JavaScript. So is Dataview. The Dataview query language, and here again is JavaScript. And charts, again, charts are just JavaScript. And models are extremely well versed on JavaScript. So when I give it the information, it basically just learns how to do it. And then I just start asking it questions. I start saying, what kind of cool things can I do with this? Can I do this? Can I do that? And also, charts is not always needed. This is pure Dataview. This fantastic heat map is not charts. This is the charts plugin along with Dataview, but this is not. So there are so many cool things that you can do with Dataview and charts, and that I'm just literally only a few days of scratching the surface. So I would love to know what you are doing with Dataview and charts and templater in Obsidian. After I give the data to the model, we just start working together. Now, what I wanted to do in this case is and you can see here, I'll just say read docs. There it is right there, me saying exactly what I just told you I say. Now, here's the really cool thing. As you can see, it is responsive. This is it just sitting in a note. You can make this be your homepage. You don't have to use the canvas. You can just remove this title, and I have this where it shows me the titles of notes, but you could turn that off. Maybe you could use the banner plugin, and you could just set it to readable line length, and there you go. You have your chart and your whole dashboard set up. It's beautiful. Now, I wanted to show you what it looks like on the canvas because of how cool it is that you can actually create something a little bit more custom if you want. But over here, if we go to the Dataview canvas, right here I have it bookmarked, and we see the dashboard again. But I didn't like the way this looked. It was cool, but the color scheme. I wanted it to have a different color scheme and make a few changes. I wanted some icons, a little bit more visual interest. And so I just began asking it if it could do those things. And this, when I say it, I mean GPT-5, which was released yesterday. So from here on in, this is all GPT-5. And I'm putting in the color scheme here. And one of the things that I can note about GPT-5 right away is I love how it just gets to business. None of this chirpy kind of absolutely, and you're absolutely right, stuff that you're always getting from Claude. Claude is fast, and it can do, I've worked a lot with it. It has absolutely changed my life, but boy, is it super cheery type of emoji soup nonsense. Really gets on your nerves. GPT-5 just says, here you go. And then it just sort of does a little, kind of cleans off its hands, and then just goes and sits down at the desk and waits for you to do the next thing. That's basically it. I just love it. It just does that. And the thinking here is really helpful. Now, one note on GPT-5, it's slow. I'm not going to lie. It is slow. It is much slower than Claude because it goes through this very detailed thinking. Was it able to get everything correct first time? No. Once I started asking it to make little changes, I often had to ask it several times. And one thing it wasn't able to do, I asked it if it could animate these cards. So first of all, let's find out where I got to with the dashboard, my version, what I wanted it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this dashboard, and I'm just going to click here on it. And if you're wondering how my canvas looks a little bit different and allows you to do things like turn on and off the border or change the border type here, that's very pretty. I'm using advanced canvas to do these extra things. I'm going to click here and I'm just going to delete this. So how do we add a cool looking chart to our canvas? Well, this is the chart that I ended up with working with Claude. And I love how this, and again, I'm going to right click out here outside the note area and click on readable line link. And it just looks great. This is a little bit odd here, but I didn't want to make changes and make it all look pretty for you all. I wanted to show you raw what you can do, as well as things that don't work that I need to fix. But this is a little bit funky, so I would ask it to change this. And the way I would ask it to do that is I would just use a screen program here. I have one that just will select the entire area. I hope you can see this. This is showing up, but I'm basically selecting an area here. And then I can hit enter, and that will save it not only to my downloads folder, but it'll also save it to my copy paste. So I can just say, hey, this isn't working, and copy paste it in. And you can see here that I actually do that right here. I deleted this image, but I will just, the cards still look bad. Like, again, worst prompting in the world. But I also want to keep this real and human. I don't always have the energy or mental space, especially after 8 hours of working with a model to do the things I'm trying to do with my channel and my life and my business. I don't have the energy to write out these long prompts. And also, I also wanted to show you this because GPT-5 was able to pick up on my extremely messy prompts, and just work it out. Like it was able to do what I asked it to do for the most part. These are the places where it did not work. So let me first show you by going over here to the Dataview canvas. We now have an empty canvas. Now let's go ahead and drag on the unified dashboard. And I'm going to, you can see that it's showing up here. And your first thought might be like, well, how do you make it where you don't have all this text and the rest of the note around it? And that is really cool. I just discovered this last night, so I'm really happy to have learned this existed. I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to click on narrow to block. Now, I'm not sure if this is native to Obsidian. If it isn't, then it has to be part of the advanced canvas plugin. I don't know. Let me know if you know. But I'm going to narrow to block, and then I click on this, and all I need to do is just select the entire Dataview code block. That's it. And there, that's the entire dashboard. That is so cool. Now, of course, you want to have this title removed, and I do that by right-clicking here and then removing, hiding here, and that's it. Now, I'm going to scroll out here. I'm going to put this here in the center, and I'm going to scroll out so we can position this just as we want to. And we'll just make this bigger, and I just keep scrolling until I get basically to the entirety of the note being displayed. So I'm going to keep scrolling outwards, and until that happens, as in you can see the border around all 4 edges of the note on the canvas. And then I just hit the key here, zoom to fit, which I know that's native to Obsidian. And now I have my dashboard right there. But here's a place where the dashboard did not work. I could not get GPT-5 to do this particular part. I wanted these cards to be animated just like the cards here on the channel, on iversusai.com. And I wanted to have that here, but despite me showing it both pictures of my website as well as showing it pictures here, it was unable to do it. Why? I literally don't know. You can also see that I added some icons here. One of the neat things that I learned in learning this data view process over the last few days is that there are some really awesome icons that come with Obsidian. They just come with Obsidian. Look at this. Oh, I love this. Makes me so happy. So I saw in the documentation, as we were going through the documentation, I saw that it could call icons. And I went, wait, hold on. What does this mean? How do you do it? And it would describe it to me, Claude would. And I said, can you make a document that shows me all of the available icons? How many icons are available? Well, there's 1,700. I said, oh, well, can you make it so I can see them all? So I could look through and say, I want you to use the banana icon, the all-important banana icon in my precious dashboard that looks really cool. I want there to be a banana right here. Every time I don't complete a task, put a banana icon on there. So it created this entire document. Now you might be saying, oh my gosh, that looks so cool. I want to get my grubby hands on it. And your answer is yes, you can have this, of course. And the icons here, and I'm going to put together a little goodie bag for you for this video, and I'll drop a link in the description and the pinned comment, and you can go over and grab it, and I will put whatever I can think of that will help you to be able to get started. I'll also add in the Dataview documentation, the template documentation, so that you can give it to a model and begin to learn yourself. You can also, of course, look on the website, which I've already shown you for Dataview, but again, the model can't help you with that. The agent can't help you. So that's why I'll give you that documentation. Just keep in mind that if they update the documentation, the version you have will be old, but it will just give you what you need to get started. I am so happy and so pleased with this dashboard. And there are a few more things, a few more tricks up my sleeve to show you. One is I told you that these little notes here, when I scroll in, you can see this is something I asked Claude to do. You can see, in fact, you can see that the old version, this little black version there, is still there. So again, this is not perfect by any means. There are definitely little problems. Let me point some of those out to you. But this will also open up the exact note. So you can go and see, yay, I did indeed finish 3 out of 4 tasks, just like it says. And you can click here and go right to the exact note. But there's so much more that you could do with this dashboard. And honestly, it's just a matter of your imagination and saying, can you do this and can you do that? Because your life is individual to you, which leads me to show you this cool thing. So one of the first things that I thought of when Claude built me this daily note template is I said, what if I want to share this with others and their habits are different? And they do different things every day. And there's no way for me to know what they do on a regular basis. Let's say that you study on a regular basis. So I have a little tip here. I do have this in reading view right now, the daily note. It doesn't mean I can't write in it. So I'm just going to remove that from reading view. But when I do that, you can see here that the data view comes up at first, and it does not change until you scroll all the way to the bottom of the note. And there's a lot of, and then you'll see it pops in and works. And then from there on, when you close the note and you open it again, I have it set. Let me just show you this by turning off reading view here. I'm going to go to editor here, and I'm going to set my default view to editing view. And then I'm going to just load this note up again. And we can see that it pops in like this. The Dataview query, the Dataview code block. I'm going to hit Control N to just head to the bottom here to quickly load that in. But what I wanted to prove to you is that the next time you come back in to this, at least in my testing, and you come back in, it automatically loads again. So it doesn't need to, you don't need to scroll to the bottom of your note every time, but you do need to do that the first time that you load it in, particularly after you change from reading view to editing. Now I'm going to add a new task. Let's try mowed the lawn. I'm not sure if this is going to work, so we're going to find out live. I have no idea. I hope so. Let's find out. Nope, it did not. But how about let's try weeding the garden. Weeding the garden. This one I think should work. Yeah. There you go. So it doesn't catch everything, but it does catch some things. And let's try meal planning. I'm not sure if that will work. Let's see. Nope, it did not. But let's just try cook dinner. And I'll show you how you can make this more effective. I'm pretty sure cook dinner's in it. Yeah, cooking. So what I wanted was as many ways for habits that you do on a regular basis or anyone does on a regular basis to be useful. And also, again, when you click on the task, I'm going to click on working with Claude on setting up Dataview, and I'm going to mark that task completed and then scroll down. And I love this. Look at work. It's now completed. That is cool because not only is it satisfying to hit that little task icon there, but it's also really satisfying to see this dashboard update in practically real time. This also updates to the number of tasks you have completed. And again, if I mark that I have added in yet another glass of water for the day and I'm at my max, it will update target achieved. Yay! So how did I do this? This dynamic habit tracking feature. Now, if we head down here, I'm going to scroll down to the dynamic habit tracking section. And I'm just sitting here just so happy. I love showing you all how to do this. I just love it. I'm going to go over here and make the pane a little bit smaller. Actually, I'll just close it so we can see more. There we go. So this is the smart habit detection system. And how this came about was at first, Claude hard-coded in this information. And I just asked a question. I said, is it possible to make this dynamic and make like a list of all of the common things that most people do, but have it explained so that they could give it to ChatGPT and say, increase this with these words for these things that I do? For example, I play ultimate frisbee. Can you add that to the exercise types and the different keywords? And this is what large language models excel at. This kind of language-based work but they're large language models. So, I mean, it's amazing for this. So you could make out this daily note so that you could have it have everything that you do in life that you want to track in your habits. And then those habits and what you track would show up on your dashboard. The top 5 habits here, it would show up right here. That's so cool. So it's completely set up for you. Is this 100% perfect or could I actually add more? Oh, it's not perfect. Absolutely. This could use some work and I will be working on it because I am going to. If you are all interested in this, I'm absolutely going to release this dashboard, this daily note, this templater, and all of that. And so let me know if you would like to get your hands on this. And also let me know what you would add to this. I tried to think of things that were life things, but gardening, photography, but there's lots of other things, crafting, learning. I tried to think of students and I tried to think of social. And I also tried to think of plain things like life management and errands. Like you don't want to track errands. Like I did 5 errands. Who wants to track that? But what you want to track is I've been excellent at life management today. And that's where the life management one comes in. And they're all marked life management, all of these. So if you went to the DMV, you get to have it on your dashboard and pat yourself on the back. The last prompt that I gave to GPT-5 last night was, would the daily note make a good template? The one from January 11th. And it said, yes, it's a solid base for a daily note template. And what it even gives here, what it would put in the front matter here to turn this into a daily note template. Because I told you that I absolutely live in Cursor and I use it to, with my voice, dictate what I'm doing throughout the day, and it updates my daily note template for me. You want to know how I did that? That video? It's on screen right now.